Hey everyone, welcome back to Pokemon Reborn. In the last part, we actually dealt with the underwater Azurine Lake puzzle. And in this part, we're going to sort of clear up a lot of the content that we have left over before we can finally continue on with the story in the next part. So I'm starting off here in the Barrel Ward because there's something here for us to grab here in the Barrel Gym. I probably should have grabbed this earlier, but basically, where you got Corey's Skuntank in the mountains, you also found a silver card. And with that silver card, you can come in here and use it on this scanner and open up a secret room back here. So in this room, we can grab the Toxic Orb, and over here is actually a book with a bunch of lore if you want any of that. It's really interesting. I would give it a read. But we didn't just start here in the Barrel Ward for that. There's also some items for us to grab over here in the jungle, if we can get to it properly. So we could go through either of those entrances, and take my word for it, you need to do this in a proper order. So also just a recommendation, if you haven't gone inside the library and gotten the items that's in the hidden room in the back here, I would recommend that you do that before you do this, because we're basically going to be blocking ourselves out of grabbing those for a while. So for starters, we actually want to go in here, and through this side we can go all the way up this bridge right here, and we can grab the TM for War Cup. And that's pretty much the only real item that we can grab in here. There is also the metal plate that is right over there. And for the rest, there should be... Actually, I think we can go in over here. I think this works as well. There's also a funny sign right here. It tells you to not harm the wildlife. In reality, it should probably be telling you to avoid being harmed by the wildlife. Over here should be a dread plate right in the enclosure right there. And over here... No, we don't want to go in there yet. Over here there is one item of note. It's a hidden item. It should be a hidden ability capsule right here. And that's pretty much it for this area. There is one last thing that we can do, and there should be a couple items back here. We want to go ahead and grab them first. So there should be the rock memory right there, and I think we've done it for this area. So now we want to go ahead and come inside this room right here, and you'll notice that you just can't get past this spot right here. So if you talk to it, you'll realize that something unseeable is in your way. And now you'll notice that a lot of something that's unseeable that's in the way has kind of spawned throughout the jungle in this entire area. So this is what I was talking about. You wanted to clear out that whole area. You wanted to clear out the gym over here, or not the gym, the library, because a lot of Kecleons have spawned, and we can't really do anything about them right now. We could continue on with this little side quest a little bit further, but again, we'd still have to stop, so I'm just gonna kind of leave it there. Anyways, for the next content that we have to clear, we're gonna head up to Route 1. So I actually started from the Labyrinth part of Route 1, which is the right-hand side, the west-eastern side. And for starters, we're actually gonna go back into the Labyrinth. I know I said we're gonna mess around on Route 1, but there is one item that I want to grab before we head onward into Route 1. So if we come all the way over here into Ilolia Valley, you'll realize that we now have waterfalls, so we can actually scale this waterfall right here. So there should be a hidden nugget right here. And again, we can rock smash this opening right here to open it. And over here, we can grab another dark material. That is actually really, really useful. Or rather, it will be useful later on in claiming a new Pokemon. But we can't quite get to that yet. Anyways, while we're down here, there is one other item that we might as well grab, which is sort of down here. we basically have to go all the way down towards the end of the stream, which should be right about here. And again, because we have waterfall, we can waterfall down this current, and we can actually use that green gem right there and grab this TM, which is for Gyro Ball. So anyways, that should be pretty much everything for Iolia Valley. Now that we're back here in Route 1, I already went ahead and I grabbed a Tauros by defeating one of the Bouffalants. And we're going to come all the way down here towards this entrance into the North Advenarin Woods. So at this entrance we can actually get off our Tauros right here because there's some tall grass, and we can finally surf across this little pond and grab the Sharpedonite. I think it's kind of ironic that we're getting the Sharpedonite right now. So aside from that, I'm going to go ahead and go to the other side of Route 1. So now that we're on the other side of Route 1, the one that has the Nature Center, we're going to go ahead and head over this way. I could have started straight at the entrance, but like I usually do, I prefer to give sort of a point of reference. So we're just going to move over here and then move into, should be the third entrance from the right. And at this point we're going to have to dismount our Tauros just to get through the tall grass. And over here we'll find ourselves in Celestine Mountain yet again. So there's actually something we're here for this time, and that is the last time we came down here, we couldn't actually do anything. We could grab a few items, but there was this dive spot over here that we couldn't actually do anything with. In fact, we couldn't even get to the dive spot because we didn't have surf at the time. But now we do have dive, and we can actually dive down here, and there's a bunch of hidden items to collect, which I will be grabbing on screen. Mainly because I just don't intend on coming back down here ever again, even off screen, so I think most of these are okay items. There is the rare candy right there, and there is also the TM for Fling right there, which is actually a very important TM because it allows you to steal trainers' items if you use it properly with a couple of other moves. But for the most part, that should be everything down here, and that should be every single side quest content up till this point, except for one area that we have left to take care of. And for the last area of side quest, it's actually going to be sort of a massive cave of puzzles. And we're going to be starting here in Spindletown, and in the Chrysolia forest we're going to move over this way, head into the Chrysolia Springs. So you may remember that the last time we went here, again, like I've said a million times before about other areas, we did not have surf. So we couldn't actually access this area. Or most of this area anyways. But in here there's a bunch of hidden items as well as a puzzle of sorts. So you're going to notice in a lot of areas there's these springs that are bubbling up, in that if we push these boulders onto these springs, we can actually use these springs to sort of catapult us up to another floor, or even just up to a different ledge. So we want to come around this way, that way we can push this boulder right here into the hole, and we can grab this red card right here. That red card isn't actually a card or anything like that, if you're curious. It is a held item. What it does is basically once the Pokemon that's holding the red card is attacked, it sends the attacking Pokemon out of battle. So for the most part, all the puzzles down here are going to revolve around this boulder right here and pushing it into certain spots, which can get kind of complicated. So I want to push it up one, and then I want to surf over here. You can push boulders while you're surfing, which is pretty much what this puzzle, or these puzzles, revolve around. So for starters, we're going to start down here, and I did not mean to do that. And our goal right now is to push this boulder onto the smaller spring. That way we can catapult ourselves up to the next floor with the larger spring. So for this puzzle right here, I recommend that you save, which I'm going to do right now, because if you mess up on this puzzle, there is no easy way to reset it. Basically, if you mess up, you have to go back down to the lower floor, and then you have to push the boulder back onto the same spring as earlier in order to get yourself back up onto this floor. And that's not very productive. It's easier to just save on this floor before you start this puzzle, that way you can soft reset your game if you do make a mistake. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and surf right here, grab the item, and then I want to surf right up here immediately and just push this boulder out of the way. From here, you might want to turn off your speed up occasionally, but I want to push these boulders right here sort of out of the way. And next we want to push these two boulders down a little bit. So this is the boulder that we want right here, and I want to surf down here, push it up, push it over, and we're finally out of dangerous territory. So from this point on, I can just push this boulder over here straight up, and I can push this boulder over there. And again, we made sure that we moved the boulder over there from earlier, because that can get a little bit annoying sometimes, and we want to push it right onto the spring. So with that boulder onto that spring, we can catapult ourselves onto this ledge, and we can drop down into this hole. So over here we'll actually have a bit of a steamy room. And what you can do in this steamy room is you can use defog in battle. Apparently it's an in-battle move, and you have to use it in battle, and you will clear out the steam. Or the fog. It doesn't really matter, because I do have a good idea of where the items are. So if I move around here, I can come over here and grab the ice heal, and then this other item is also sort of on this ledge up here, and it should be a Flame Orb. There's pretty much nothing else inside of this room, so we've cleared it out. So from here, we can simply hop that ledge, and we're back where we started, kinda, on the bottom floor anyways. Alright, so there's actually still a lot that we have to do. It all revolves around pushing that boulder down various different paths, and something I forgot to mention is up here is actually a Razor Fang. So you might want to grab that. I'm pretty sure we've grabbed one before, but I haven't mentioned it. It is the held item to evolve Gliscor. And you can also fling it at any Pokemon for a guaranteed flinch. But anyways, I believe we want to push this boulder down this path this time. So I'm just going to keep pushing it down this little path right here, and over here I want to make sure that I push it down. We can grab this item that's right over here. It's a big pearl. I don't know if I mentioned it, but last episode I actually sold like all the relic items that we gathered, because I spent all my money before that, because you do have to lose a battle prior to doing the Belgium quest, and you can lose a sizable amount of coins or Pokédollars if you don't spend it all. So again, for the most part, this puzzle is just you zigzagging all over the place so that you can push this boulder. And I'm gonna go over here and push that boulder right onto that spot. It can make it pretty annoying to get to this boulder from this angle, but that's the only option that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and push that up one. We can also grab the flame plate that's right over here. And finally we can push it directly south of this pool right here. And we can catapult ourselves up onto the next floor. Well, these puzzles actually look very, very simple, and that is very, very deceptive, honestly. Like, you can kind of see where you have to push this boulder, which is that spring over there, but you can't just push it there in the simplest path. You kind of have to zigzag around and use the pools of water to push it where you want to go. So I want to push this right over here. I kind of wish that the surfing music didn't come on that much, because it kind of is a little bit annoying to constantly have to listen to it every time that you have to surf on puddles to move the boulder, but you get used to it. And there should also be a hidden item right there. Nothing really too important, but finally we can come around this way and we can push it onto that spring and boost ourselves over that ledge into another steamy room. So this steamy room is actually filled with a lot of ledges, and there should be a hidden item over here this way. And again, you can kind of make out what's happening in this room even without clearing the steam out with defog, but over here should be a Magmarizer. And finally, that's pretty much it for this room. This room is actually very simple. There's not much to it. So we can go ahead and leave this room, and it's time to go back down to the bottom floor. For that, we can just jump this ledge right over here, push this boulder out of the way, and just fall down again. Anyways, unfortunately, we're still not finished. We have 2 more paths to kind of clear out. So I'm going to go ahead and start pushing this down towards this path right here. Again, we're going to have to use surf to kind of move around a little bit. And our goal is to push it down onto this spring right over here. I think one more. Okay, there we go. For some reason, the spring kind of went invisible, so I thought I'd already pushed onto it. But anyways, once we clear that, we can now move over here, and we want to surf over here. And to be very, very careful, you want to make sure that you don't push the boulder the wrong way, because if you do, you'll get the boulder stuck, and that could be kind of messy. So from here, we want to push our boulder right over here onto that spring right down there. And now we can move up a floor again. This floor is kind of annoying because I don't think it's really that complicated. It's just very, very long-winded. And I'm going to be very, very careful not to jinx myself here. But basically, you have a long, narrow path over here that we need to push this boulder down. And there's also a hidden item right here that we can grab. It's another shard. It's really nice that we can collect all of those right now without having to actually mine. You know, maybe you'll have some sort of use for them. There are plenty of move tutors in this game currently, so every little bit will help. And finally, the end is in sight. So over here we can use that spring to catapult ourselves onto this ledge right here, and we can drop down. We can grab a red shard right there, and in here is another puzzle. Yeah, the fun doesn't really stop there. So we can grab this elixir right there, but in the corners of this room are springs, and what we want to do is take the 2 rollers that are side by side right here, and we want to push them onto two out of the 3 springs that are in this room. So I think you want to push them onto the springs that are in the upper corners of the room. And then down here we can catapult ourselves up into another room and we can grab the TM for flame charge, and that's pretty much all there is to this area. Or rather, that section. I said area like we were actually done with this whole puzzle, and unfortunately we're not. There is still one more item that we can collect down here. Major item. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna find several small hidden items. So again, we're gonna finally move the boulder onto this large path over here. Our goal is to move it onto that spring that's diagonally south of it. Just 1 square diagonally south of it. Which may seem kind of simple until you realize it doesn't work like that. So we're gonna have to move around a lot for this to happen. The puzzle actually looks very deceptively easy. But right here you're gonna think, oh, you can just go around to the right, but that hot spring that just shot up is going to block us. Instead, we're actually gonna have to go into the pond in the middle, and you'll notice that there's several staircases leading out of it. And we're gonna have to constantly use that to reposition ourselves in order to push this boulder around. So there was actually a few items around here. There should have been like an elixir that was on that rock right there. Already went ahead and grabbed those just to kind of get that out of the way. So again, we're going to constantly be repositioning ourselves around this boulder. And we need to surf in the middle again. For the most part, this is kind of easy. There is going to be a spot coming up where we can actually really ruin this puzzle, but we haven't reached that spot yet. So again, this is another spot right here where you're going to think that you can just go through that spring that just shot up, but it's actually going to block you. So down here is kind of the annoying spot. So we're going to surf up here and we're going to push that boulder all the way right there. But you want to make sure that you push this boulder south, and you want to make sure that you push it 1 step south. Otherwise, you're going to get the puzzle stuck and you're going to have to reset it and go through all this trouble again. And believe me, you don't want that. So finally, I can push that all the way over there. And again, another hot spring is going to shoot up and kind of block us from taking the simple and easy way through here. Which is kind of unfortunate. But we're almost done. And finally, that spring right there is going to shoot up and we can make our way to another higher floor. Which is nice, but we're not done yet. We are far from done. Well, actually, we're pretty close. So again, we have 1 more boulder that we want to move right here. And thankfully, this should be the last boulder that we're actually going to have to deal with. So we just want to push this around. And our goal is to push it onto the lower spring right there. I want to make sure that... Oh wait, no, that's fine. You want to make sure right here that you only push the boulder once over, because we have to come around from the top and push it down, otherwise you'll get it stuck, and again, you'll have to reset this whole entire puzzle again, and that's not going to be fun if you do that. So this part is, again, another tricky part. Or actually, this part is fine. For some reason I thought we were supposed to push the boulder onto the spring down here, but no, we're supposed to push it up there. So once we do that, we can actually come all the way over here into this room. It should be filled with steam again. Not necessary to clear out the steam like usual, but if we come up over here onto sort of a ledge at the top, we'll find the Cameruptite. Which is the reason why I kind of said it was ironic that we found the Sharpedonite. Those two are kind of counterparts. And that's pretty much everything for the Chrysolia hot springs right here. We're done. There's not much else we can actually do down here. Anyways, I think that is the last of the content that we can actually access for now without touching on the story a little bit, which we are going to do in the next part. Next part is going to be all story. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope I worked on those puzzles properly. And if I missed anything, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.